from that. All right. Time to talk about the LAPD. Keenan Anderson, the Black Lives Matter co-founder, claims cousin was killed by LAPD in Venice. An investigation is underway by the LAPD after a black man died in police custody hours after a physical altercation with officers in West LA's Venice neighborhood earlier this month. His family is heartbroken and said he should still be here to raise his son. According to LAPD officials, an officer was flagged down for a car crash that happened near Venice and Lincoln Boulevard just before 3:40 p.m. on January 3rd. The officer said when he arrived at the scene, Anderson was acting erratically and that he observed him running in the middle of the street. Witnesses also told the LAPD Anderson caused the crash. The officer spoke with Anderson and called in additional units for a DUI investigation. LAPD officials said as more units arrived, Anderson ran away from the scene, leading to a foot chase on the eastbound lanes of Venice Boulevard. A short time later, officers contacted Anderson, who say they began to resist, which led to a use of force. Now, this is, of course, the local news media coverage of the matter, okay, which, body camera footage will most likely show a different story. Officers struggled with Anderson for several minutes, utilizing a taser, body weight, firm grips, and joint locks to overcome resistance, the LAPD said in a written press release. Anderson was handcuffed at the scene and hobbled at the ankles. After being taken into custody, firefighters with the LA Fire Department were called to the scene and rendered medical aid. After a taser was deployed, he was taken to a Santa Monica hospital where he went into cardiac arrest and died. An LAPD officer was hurt in the incident and received minor abrasions to his hands. Oh no. Anderson is remembered as a father and an educator. Loved ones remember Anderson as an English teacher and a father to a 6-year-old. His cousin, Patrice Killers, is a co-founder of the Black Lives Matter movement. She paid tribute to her cousin on social media, writing, "This is my cousin, Keenan Anderson. He was killed by the LAPD in Venice on January 3rd, 2023. I don't care about Patrice. I don't care about the association with the Black Lives Matter organization." Okay? That is irrelevant to the conversation. That is irrelevant to the subject. But I don't know if we should watch this altercation, but you can see him like being on the ground, getting tased relentlessly as he says, "You are turning, turn over, or I'm going to tase you. Watch your elbow, partner," and him saying, "They're trying to George Floyd me." On the ground. I don't want to watch it. It's black trauma. I just I don't want to fucking, show you what you've seen a million times over. Okay? So from what I understand, he got in a traffic accident. Officers who showed up repeatedly tased and restrained him in the middle of the street. Footage from the January 3 encounter released on Wednesday showed that Keenan Anderson, a 31-year-old high school teacher and a father, was begging for help as multiple officers held him down and at one point said, "They're trying to George Floyd me." One officer had his elbow on Anderson's neck while he was lying down before another tased him for roughly 30 seconds, straight before pausing and tasing him again for 5 more seconds. Should watch it. You will think differently. Wait, what? "My cousin was asking for help and he didn't receive it. He was killed," Killers told The Guardian after watching the LAPD footage. "Nobody deserves to die in fear, panicking, and scared for their life. My cousin was scared for his life. He spent the last 10 years witnessing a movement challenging the killing of black people. He knew what the stake was and was trying to protect himself. Nobody is willing to protect him." So an officer arrives at the car collision at 3:30 on Venice and Lincoln Boulevards, and he finds Anderson in the middle of the road saying, "Please help me." The officer told him to go on the sidewalk and issued commands saying, "Get up against the wall." Anderson held his hands up, responding, "I didn't mean to, I'm sorry." Anderson complied with the officer's commands and sat down on the sidewalk. After a few minutes, he appeared to be concerned with the officer's behavior, saying, "I want people to see me, and you're putting a thing on me." Eventually, Anderson started to flee, at which point the officer chased him down on his motorcycle, shouting, "Get down on the ground now. Turn over on your stomach." Anderson repeatedly responded, "Please help me. They're trying to kill me," as multiple officers arrived to hold him down. Why? Why? The question is why? Why is a fucking car accident, whether he's responsible or not, why is a car accident leading like 10 fucking pigs to chase him down and arrest him? For you to ask, wasn't he on drugs? Okay, I don't know, but let's say he was. Why? Is that appropriate? Do you not do drugs? What kind of fucking question is this? Are you asking this genuinely because you're interested in what happened in all in all aspects of the story? Or are you using this as an opportunity to say, well, he deserved to die of a cardiac arrest because he was on drugs, or because the drugs are the reason why he had cardiac arrest? Is that what you're going to say? Because people do drugs all the time. Not many of them fucking have a cardiac arrest. But you know what happens to a lot of people? If they get tased while they're on fucking drugs multiple times, while they're being choked, slammed into the ground by 3 fucking different people, that could perhaps play a larger role in this process. Can a taser not kill you without the drugs? Of course it can. Of course it can. At this point, the officer standing above him shouted, "Turn over or I'm going to tase you." During the tasing, Anderson repeatedly said, "Help me," as the officer told him to stop resisting. Paramedics later arrived at the scene and took him to a hospital where, according to the LAPD, he went into cardiac arrest 4.5 hours later and died. His death could have been prevented. His death could have been prevented. It was a traffic accident. Instead of treating him like a potential criminal, police should have called the ambulance, said Kilores. If there was a policy in which traffic stops were met with unarmed professionals who come to the scene to help with whatever situation has happened, that would have prevented my cousin's death. True. She added, these types of killings and types of force will not be interrupted unless we have a courageous elected officials who come forward and challenge not just the police, but also the policies. I hate that, like, the like, there's so many components of the story. People saying he had drugs and he was out operating in an erratic manner. Okay, fine. Does that mean you get the death sentence? I did not know that, like, being erratic in the vicinity of cops is it means that, like, they can kill you. Okay, they can use whatever kind of pressure or whatever kind of force. It's a traffic accident. It's not like he's waving a fucking gun around. Okay, if he had a gun, right, and he was, like, pointing it at people, being erratic, and cops actually restrained him, not by shooting him, but in the way that they were restraining him, then we have a different conversation. He has no gun. It's literally a fucking car accident, and he's unarmed, and they're literally fucking slamming him to the ground, choke slamming him, choking him, and tasing him nonstop. That's crazy. That's crazy. Another part of the conversation I don't like is that, like, on the one hand, you know, this gives more. This is going to be utilized by the Black Lives Matter organization, which we know is not the best. Okay. Another part of the conversation is going to be that on the other side, they're going to use the connection to BLM, the organization, not the movement, as a way to undermine the severity of the story itself. Ultimately, what happened in the circumstances is that police escalated instead of de-escalating, as they always do, against a black man, which led to his death. Why are you anti-BLM? I'm actually curious. I'm not anti-Black Lives Matter, the movement. I've been a supporter of Black Lives Matter, the movement, since day one, since before liberals even decided to be on board with BLM, the movement. The organization itself, though, is a little fraudulent. It's grifty. The movement is correct. It's good. Most people on the streets don't actually care about the movement or the organization. As a matter of fact, a lot of leaders who haven't been suicided under weird conditions are oftentimes against the organization and tell people not to give money to the Black Lives Matter international organization. Anyway. It's crazy how your country managed to corrupt people associated with BLM and then attach them to a movement that was actually important so they can shit on it. Yeah. Remember during the wild chase? Well, fraud is a leap. It's not a leap. Most 501c3s are fraudulent. Okay, that's just how it works. So you can call it grifty, but that's it. Technically, it doesn't matter if they don't use a single fucking dime on like actual bail funds or anything like that, and use all of it on buying a mansion or setting up like a YouTube channel or whatever the fuck they said they were going to use it on. Okay. Ultimately, a lot of these nonprofits operate in a similar capacity just to like pay themselves. So the difference between like a fraudulent or a grifty nonprofit and one that is not grifty is, or not even considered to be grifty or fraudulent is marginal, insignificant. Okay. You haven't done any audit of BLM as an org, and I don't know why you feel so confident telling them how to spend the donations. They receive so little info. What? With so little info? Bro, do you know about the person you're talking about? Are they specifically suspect? Are you just reading right-wing propaganda about BLM National? No. I mean, we have covered it before. There have been numerous reports on the matter, not just by right-wing outlets, but by literally fucking liberal outlets as well. And that also concluded that the utilization of the funds that were given to Black Lives Matter as an organization, he's not a liberal, he's an anarchist. He can't help himself, okay? This person is an anarchist in Los Angeles. He cannot help himself. They bought a house that they said was for content and for educational purposes, and that's pretty much what they did. But here, I mean, New York Magazine also fucking wrote about it. But, of course, when you're an anarchist, you're going to say this is a right-wing agitprop. This is a right-wing institution. I already have talked about how most of these fucking organizations behave in a fraudulent capacity, and BLM is no different in that regard. But the difference is that people on the ground who are genuine movement leaders also tell motherfuckers not to give any money to the Black Lives Matter organization. Why do you think they say that the Black Lives Matter organization is fraudulent? Black Lives Matter leader accused of stealing $10 million from the organization, the Global Network Foundation. There's so much. After raising $90 million in 2020, BLM has spent $42 million in assets, or has $42 million in assets. And there is an audit happening right now. And that audit might prove that like BLM did not operate outside of the boundaries of a 501c3. But the reality is that 501c3 boundaries that were created are also fraudulent in and of itself, which is why, yeah, sure, it's not any different than other fucking philanthropic organizations. Okay, look at fucking churches, for example. But, ultimately, if you're looking at it from a moral perspective, it is really fucking silly. Bringing it up in this context is just really counterproductive. You don't know the woman involved in BLM whose cousin was murdered or the work she does. Why bring this up and diminish her at all? No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is counterproductive. What? Cinemarxism. It's going to come out that you did like videos for them or some shit. If it is the case, just say your piece and move on, okay? Did you cut a documentary with them? Is that why? I know you make like anarchist content. Is that why you're fucking defending a fundamental piece of the nonprofit industrial complex? Is that why? What's going on here? The victim being related to the Black Lives Matter organization has nothing to do with the victim being another fucking victim of police brutality as a black man. Okay? Are you CIA? How do you know that? I know my chatter, especially ones that are involved in, to some degree, local politics, Los Angeles politics, especially ones that can't stop talking about people like Hugo Soto Martinez and the like. I work with a lot of activists in LA and have a lot of respect for them and Melina Abdullah. I don't think an org buying a mansion should be brought up every time BLM is mentioned any more than I think your mansion should be brought up every time you have a good take. Yeah, there's a difference, dog. Nobody's fucking giving me money because they think that I'm going to go and spend the money on bail funds and numerous other resources to help Black lives in America. They're giving me money because they like the content. So me buying a fucking house with my money is not the same as a 501c3. I don't even have the tax exemptions that a 501c3 has. Are you fucking stupid? Did you really consider me as an equivalent here? Are you that dumb? How is this a good argument? I'm a fucking streamer. I'm not a goddamn nonprofit, dummy. Do you think this is a charity? Do you think I'm running a charity here? But I'd be chirping. Chime in. Please explain. Explain your incredible perspective here. The only charity I do is when I fucking actually am charitable to dumbass takes like yours in the chat, okay? Because ultimately, despite our disagreements, I think that your perspective is coming from a place of honesty, okay? That's it. You could apply the 501c3 and be considered an educational nonprofit if you wanted. Nothing would change about the work you do. You would just get tax incentives. I'm just saying BLM does good work, and we don't have info to criticize how they spend their money. Yes, we do. What are you talking about? Not only are they getting an IRS tax audit, but like there also is a fuckload of money that they've dumped into real estate. What are you talking about? There have been plenty of articles written on this subject. What do you mean? It would be scummy if Hasan would do that and spend the money like he does now. That would be scummy if Hasan would do that. Yeah, if I turned around and it said this is a 501c3 for educational content, got like fat tax benefits off of it, told you that I was utilizing every single dollar to fucking buying a house to operate out of isn't a deal breaker for me. I don't know. Dude, it's not. It's not. That's not the only fucking point of contention here. It's what they've done with the money thus far. Okay? Why do you think I gave, when I was raising money, why do you think I gave so much to the fucking individual bail funds? Okay? This is bananas to me. And it's not just the house either. And now you're making it seem like it's just the house. No, they literally bought a house and then claimed that the house was specifically for filming content out of. Barely have filmed any content whatsoever too. It's just completely, and it's not just one house. It's multiple houses, okay? And not only that, but also they haven't done anything with it. Like they're like, oh yeah, we're just spending a fuckload, millions of dollars in making content with nothing to show. They wanted to make a cooking show, for example, on YouTube. If anything, I've done more with less funds so far, okay? And I have never, ever claimed to be a 501c3. The only thing your $5 a month gets you is the top of the hour subscription avoidance, okay? The ad break comes at the top of the hour, and it goes at the top of the hour. It's 3 minutes long, and you avoid that. That's it. And it's totally voluntary. You don't have to fucking pay for it. Everything else is free. There's only a 3-minute window where you just don't have the content. That's it. Not a charity. If you don't want to fucking subscribe, you don't have to. And I don't tell you that I'm going to fucking use these funds in a way that, like, benefits the movement or whatever. Anyway, and people yet still gift subs in the chat, okay? Allowing other people to no longer see the ads as well. Baron Cat, thank you for the 5 gifted. Legit Salvage, thank you for the 5 gifted. Maxie the Potato, thank you for the 5 gifted. Allowing 15 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Yeah, you know where it's going. It's going to the fucking Valo Skin Fund, okay? Antotherma and Narwaffle, thank you for the 5 get the subs as well. Motherfuckers' take is basically, I don't mind what they do because they've given me money personally, so I'm cool with whatever they're doing. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he actually has worked with them personally. I think Cinemarxism is just saying we should focus on the good BLM did and not always needing to bring up the shit. He is a really good dude who does a ton of activist stuff. Yeah, no, I know. That's why I don't fucking ban him, even though he chirps all the goddamn time in places in the most anarchist way possible, in a way that is like impossible to fucking not respond to. He knows all of my little things that pisses me off, and he harps on them all the time. But I do know ultimately he's a good person. I haven't, and I get paid for 95% of the work I do in the space. It's pro bono. Yeah, I know he's a good dude overall. I know. That's why I don't ban him, even though he's an unwashed anarchist. Anyway, regardless. Like I said, yeah, I don't know if he worked with Black Lives Matter or not, okay? But the reason why I brought up the Black Lives Matter, the organization, is because Chatters asked me, okay? Chatters asked. That's it. That's the reason why I brought it up. I've taken 2 showers today already. I don't believe you. There were a bunch of chatters who asked, oh, why do you not like BLM, the organization? I don't understand it. And that's, I'm going to explain it to you. Ultimately, it does not matter, though. Even though this article mostly is just talking about the BLM org, and most articles are going to talk about the BLM org rather than the fucking larger conversation at hand about yet another unnecessary, senseless Black death in the hands of a violent police force like the Los Angeles Police Department. And that is the reason why I at least sidestepped for a second. Did you watch the video of Keenan Anderson not just justifying the pig's action, but it will help you understand the idiots coming here to saying his death was justified? I don't care about what the idiots say, and most of them have not said that. The reason why they're saying that is because any amount of force, any amount of evading the authorities is grounds for an execution for a lot of these pig fuckers, okay? It is also incredibly damaging when grifters take over organizations that profit from a false association with social movements. We absolutely cannot ignore that if we want to achieve change. Exactly. Those guys have a fundamental difference in opinion than I do. And that is that if you are basically fucking evading the authorities, if you are trying to fucking survive, if you're doing anything that's erratic in the presence of a cops, that is justifiable grounds for use of force that could end up with you dying. Okay? I do not understand Chatter's misunderstanding. When I say the BLM, the org did good, I mean purely by fucking yelling the name BLM. You cannot deny the voice they put into the population because money equals voice. No, that's not true, Carter. That's not true. The Black Lives Matter organization has absolutely zero to do with Black Lives Matter, the movement. No, that's not true. They didn't, no, that, I don't agree. They didn't pump that shit so hard. That's not true. I don't agree with that. I don't. If they wanted to, the movement existed way before the organization, and if they truly wanted to do something, instead of like marketing themselves and then taking the money and not necessarily spending it on resources that people on the ground in the actual movement wanted, okay? Instead of spending it on areas of need, they wouldn't have spent it on themselves, which is what they did. Oh, they did good marketing. They did good marketing. Like, that's crazy. The Black Lives Matter organization just did marketing for themselves. And that was a misappropriation of funds that a lot of fucking liberals pumped capital into because they were like well-intentioned. They felt like white guilt or whatever the fuck. Or maybe they were just like legitimately thinking that like these resources were going to be spent in the way that people on the ground wanted them to be spent.